Bonjour everyone and welcome back to the Waves of Your Soul. I am your humble French tarot reader Marine, and today I wanted to share with you some of my current favorite oracle decks, a little glimpse at the oracle decks I have been loving lately. I love to talk about tarot decks on my channel, and this is a nice way for me to give homage to the other love of my life, which is oracle decks. And I think it's nice to just have a little bit of a spotlight about the oracle decks I've been loving. I'm gonna share with you how I've been using them, how they integrate in my practice, as each of them is different, and that's what we're gonna be doing. So if it's your first time here, hi, welcome, it's so nice to have you. As per all of my videos, you will find all of the names of the decks I am gonna be presenting today in the description box. So if you're ever thinking, what the heck is this French froggy person saying, then you will find all the names in the description box. Sometimes if I'm being a good YouTuber, I even put links, but not always, because we know I'm definitely not a good YouTuber all the time, okay? In the description box, you'll also find my other social media links, and I will put other videos of oracle decks spotlight I've been doing. I've been doing them for, I think, a year now, so there's at least 2 or 3 videos to watch by now of regular updates on the oracle decks I've been enjoying in my practice. Let's get into it. Let's talk about oracle decks. Let's go. Some of these oracle decks you will have seen in hauls, some of them you will have seen in monthly favorites, some are new, some are old, and some you've never even seen yet. Ooh, secrets! But let's start with one that you will have seen recently if you watch my pick a card reading videos, because I've been having fun using this one for you guys as well, especially to help you pick your pile, and that is the Radiant Crystal cards by Bouchette Design. This is an indie oracle deck, and I think I forgot to hold this. Whenever this came into my life this year, I can't even really remember, but I think it was early in the year, either around Christmas time or just after, I forgot to hold this. So I've had this for a few months, but somehow it escaped the whole video. So as the name suggests, Radiant Crystal cards, and by the way, I have the second edition. This is a crystal oracle deck, so it doesn't actually have a guidebook, it just has cards. So you have a few cards with like how to use the deck, we have a chakra card, we have a little bit of a text here on how to make crystal grids, and we have also a little bit of an introduction on how to use the card from the creator, and also here are all the list of the decks that are present in the deck. Honestly, this is not the kind of decks where you would need a guidebook anyway, because everything is on the card. So here are the edge, which I love. They came like this. I love this color. If I ever do a deck, I would definitely do some color like this, because I love this kind of turquoise blue. It's so cute. So on each of the card front, you have a picture of a crystal, you have the name of the crystal and 3 keywords, and then on the back you have all the message. So you have always a chakra, you have an astrological sign, an affirmation, a little bit of how this crystal resonates, the energies of it, and then you always have a plant ally. So I've had this deck for a few months and I've been using it in the background for myself, either as like crystal to meditate on. If I'm doing a little bit of a meditation, I'll pull a crystal at the beginning of it to kind of give me a focus or an anchor. I like to pull it even when I'm doing potentially week ahead reading, pulling a crystal for my week. And sometimes I will have a crystal to match like physically, so I'll pull that out, and sometimes I won't, so I'll just use the energy that's present on the card. It's the great thing about crystal decks is that if you don't have crystal, you can still work with the energies of crystal. Now I'm definitely a crystal girly, I have quite a few of them, but I don't have all of those that are present here, so it's nice to have the option. And on top of that, look at how gorgeous. I mean, I love how this is looking, the aesthetic of it. What I've enjoyed the most is not just the 3 keywords here, but the affirmation. For me, that's been like the most prominent thing I've been using this. So I'll pull a crystal, I'll look at the keywords, and then I'll look at the affirmation. I don't necessarily pay too much attention to the chakras, because I've made my own correlation with certain crystals and chakras, and sometimes we don't agree with the creator, which is fine. Obviously, like everyone's is gonna make their own different opinions and their own different like correlation and stuff. But I really love the affirmation, and I thought the addition of plant ally is also really interesting. One of the other main ways I've been using this is actually in my pick a card readings. I will pull a card for each pile, and it helps you guys choose. I think this actually is what happened here. That must be one of the latest one I've used. So this has also been a way I've been using that, and I think it's really nice as a way to help you choose your pile, and then we, at the end of the reading, turn it around, read the message, read the affirmation. It's a nice way to tie the reading. So I have a couple of the crystal deck. I have one I've had for years, and this is my second one. This one definitely has a lot more cards than my previous one, and they don't really work the same. I think they have different vibes, but I can see myself kind of holding on to this one for the most versatile aspect of it, because everything is on the card, because there's a lot of choices here, and because I found that I could integrate it not just for reading for myself, but for reading for others too. This is one I've been really enjoying using in the last few months. And because I don't think I've ever showed it on my channel before, it was due. It was due for its time in the spotlight, you guys. So like I was saying in the intro, all of these decks I've been using for a while now, so it's also these kind of videos a nice way for me to come back to decks you might have been seeing in my hauls and give you like proper fuller reviews. Now I've had a few weeks / few months to spend with them and to use them, and that is the case for this one, which is the Rainbow Brain Skull Oracle. This is the indie version of this deck, which I had pre-ordered way back at the beginning of the year when I didn't know there would be a mass market version. This has since been released mass market for way cheaper than I paid for my copy. So if you like this, definitely check out Amazon. You can get it on all the places where you can buy decks now. It's definitely a lot more affordable than when I paid for it, but I really like this artist, so I'm glad I could support their work at the time. And to be honest, the indie version that I have is very nice. The cardstock feels very nice and everything. So here are the backs. I believe the mass market is all the same backings. I believe you have the same edging, but I have heard that on the mass market the quality of the card is not the best. For the indie, at least, it's definitely beautiful. I have nothing but to say. So this is by Ramina Razor, who is an artist I follow on Instagram. I love their stuff because it's very gamifying life / looking at consciousness in a way that's fun, unapologetic, and still very spiritual in my opinion. It's looking at ways where you can look at life in the sense of what character do you want to play today, how do you want to expand your consciousness while still thinking about ways to have fun and to not take things too seriously. So this is an artist that I've been following for at least 2 years now, and I always love their stuff. So when they announced in January that they were doing a indie release of their Oracle deck, it was no brainer. I was very excited to participate, but like I said, if you are now keen into this deck, you can get it mass market. Deck I mostly go to when I want to work with my creativity or when I'm working on a project. So this has been one I've pulled a lot for readings around my YouTube channel, for example, or personal creative projects, anything like that, anything where I am working with my creative side, with like my content, for example, or with like offerings I'm working on and things like that, because this is very like main character energy, step into your life, get out of your head and get back into the driving seat and have more fun. So it's definitely a little bit irreverent in the way it reads, but I think it's also very wise and definitely very playful, which is why for me using this for like creative readings has been really good. I normally was always using Krisan's Sacred Creators Oracle. This has been a good one to go since I've had it as well. I really love this so much that I even got the app, which you can get on your phone for like €3, I think. So if you can't even get your hands on the guide on the deck, you can get the app, which is also really fun. It holds the full guidebook and all the cards, so you can pull cards on your phone if you want. It's a very fun deck that pleases my childlike gamer side, but it's also a lot deeper than you would think it is. It can go deeper, it can look at things a little bit below the surface, and it's good to kick you up the butt when you need it. The thing I wish this did different is I wish this was numbered, because it's quite hard to find your messages in the guidebook. It's not in alphabetical order, and because there's no numbers, it's a little bit tricky to find your page sometimes. But for each of the cards you have a little bit of a script, and again, this is also written in a way that's very empowering, very creative. So if we just pick one at random, for example, the infinite ocean of ideas we're all allowed to swim in. I love this. So I'll read to you what the guidebook says so you can get a little bit of an idea. It says, your imagination is a spaceship capable of traveling to the farthest reaches of hyperspace. Imagine being alive in the 1800s and thinking it's all been done. Sounds just about the same today. Go fishing for big ideas. Nope. Even bigger. It's definitely something that's gonna force you to get out of your boredom. If you're feeling a bit meh, if you're feeling a bit uninspired, if you're feeling very like Four of Cups vibes, this will kick you out of that space. I think it's a great daily card draw. It also pairs beautifully, especially with the Holy Spectrum Tarot. Let me grab it. This is the Holy Spectrum. I have the first edition. It's an indie deck, one of my favorite decks ever. And this pairing is, I definitely can't take credit for this pairing. My friend Moira put me onto this, and if you're watching, I'm sending you so much love and I'm thanking you so much, because these two together are just a match made in heaven. I mean, look at that. Just the vibes, the colors, the idea of it being very like main character energy, a little bit video gamey slash still being rooted in spirituality, the colors of it, and even like the way the message coexist together. This has been such a powerful pairing. And look at this, me, also me, also me, also me with the Magician. I mean, come on. We have accept how you feel, then move through it with awakening or the judgment. Hello? Yes! You're never more than a half step away from being back in the flow with the Three of Swords. What a beautiful reminder. When you feel like you're literally being pierced through, you can see the hand reaching out for you. And this is the universe saying, you're just one step away, you can grab this hand reaching out for you. So honestly, these two together make magic. I need to include this in a pick a card reading for you guys, because I need to share this. I really can't be saving this just for myself. It's too good. Even though I paid way too much money for this and wished I knew that the mass market version was coming when I got this, I feel like it's brought me so many good readings ever since I've gotten it that it was worth it. When you are a tarot lover, sometimes you will get a deck when it's indie, it goes out of print, and suddenly you have something that people will pay hundreds for. Sometimes you'll pay for a deck indie and the next month it's mass market, everybody has it, and you ended up paying 4 times what other people are paying. It's the law of the game. You win some, you lose some. If you don't want to lose, just don't play the game. Personally, I'm a deck lover and I'm a very good fangirl, so if I like an artist and they release something, I will get it. If I'm financially able, and if not, I'll wait. And if I can get my hands on it later on, then that means it will be meant to be. So let's move on. Next oracle deck I wanted to talk about. Ooh, you guys, the next two I have been obsessed with, and I've showed them in my last haul for July, and so I've used them all months of July. Let's talk about first the Prairie Majesty Oracle by Cara Simmons and Amy Putney Koenig. This is a mass market oracle deck. It used to be indie and it's now mass market. So here you go. Here is one example where when it was indie, I didn't even know this was a thing. Even though I'm a huge deck goblin, I don't know all the decks coming out. There are so many of them, and there's moments where I'm not on top of the news and not necessarily following out what's coming out and stuff. So this apparently used to be an indie deck. It was picked up mass market by Hey House, I believe. Yeah. One of my wonderful viewers, Melanie, if you're watching, I'm sending you so much love, got me onto this. She was like, Maureen, I think you'd like this, you need to check it out. And so I did. So here are the backs, and by the way, I still need to edge this in black. I haven't had really much time, but this is really begging for some edging. Here are the backs. I love them. There's something very attractive about this art style. Since I was told to check this deck out, I watched a few reviews and I was like, wow, how did I miss this? How come I was never aware that this existed? Because this is right up my alley. This is a nature-themed oracle, where each of the cards will represent either an animal, an elemental being, or a plant, mostly from, you've guessed it, the prairie, which is, it focuses on this particular ecosystem, this landscape. But not only is it a nature deck, and it takes roots in ecology and animism and like spirituality that's tied to the land, which are all things that I'm very, very keen on. My spirituality mostly relies on my connection to nature. Personally, that's how I relate to God, the universe, source, spirit, whatever you guys want to call it. For me, it comes through my connection to nature, to plants, to animals, to the landscape around me. That's how I connect to the energies higher than me. So it's already speaking my speak, if you will say. But not only that, the keywords and the questions on each of the cards are amazing, and I've been absolutely loving this deck in the month of July and on continuing in the month of August, and I can see myself using this all the way to the end of the year. So I have a very strong feeling this will appear in my top oracle decks of the year, because honestly, this is super versatile and definitely a deck I could see myself recommend to many people who are either wanting to work with oracle decks in a way that's very introspective, self-reflection, because the questions here are wonderful for journaling, and because the guidebook is written in a very empowering way, in a way where it will allow you to go within, to look at what's going on, to do a lot of self-reflection and introspection. So if you like oracle decks that help you on your self-development journey, this is amazing. I would also recommend it for any of my nature lovers, because again, the way that this is written will focus on the animal or the elemental being, or you know, the plant and stuff, but it's rooted in their life, their behaviors, their habitat and stuff. So also wonderful for that. And I think this is also a deck I could see myself recommending for also people who want to get into oracles and don't really know where to start, because this is very multi-purpose. Like, you can use this for the animals and the plants. You can do this for the wonderful keywords that are very action forward and that paired with tarot or used as key prompt for finishing up the readings or even for starting up the readings are wonderful. And you can use this for, like I was saying, self-reflection, journaling, or even using the questions here to start creating spreads, to pull oracle cards and tarot cards on top to answer the question that's asked here. So there's a myriad of ways you can use this oracle deck, and it's a deck I can see myself really, like I was saying, recommending to a lot of people. I've loved pairing this with my Many Queens tarot. I've loved pairing this with my Gentle tarot, and even with a deck like the Dame Darcy, it brought it back, grounding it a little bit. Here is the Many Queens tarot. This is an indie deck, but this is coming out mass market. So if you wanted to treat yourself, you could get this and this mass market. It's a wonderful pair, honestly. Again, it's a pair I could see myself recommending for if anyone is like, oh, I want to gift someone a deck pairing, maybe a tarot and an oracle. Which one should I get? Because this is coming mass market, I would be like, get these two and you will make someone very happy. First off, look at both of these backings together. I mean, gorgeousness. 10 out of 10, we love it. Not only that, but the vibe of these, because the Many Queens tarot it's a queer tarot, it's a very unapologetic tarot, but it's also a very grounded, celebratory tarot that helps you to come back to your skin, celebrate your body, feel comfortable in your own skin. And so for me, I've always said the Many Queens, it kind of speaks a lot to my Taurus moon. You know, it's very grounded, very embodied, helps you to come back to the present moment, to your body and all of those things. And these two, there's something about the quality of the artwork, something about the way they speak that is honestly very, very magical. That might be one of my favorite pairings of the year that I've discovered so far. Two of Pentacles with Nurture, beautiful. What role is mothering energy playing in my life? We have Four of Cups, Endure, Seven of Cups with Remember, super interesting pair. The Emperor with Turn, what is my next becoming? I just love these two together. The Page of Pentacles with Delight, what enchants me? I love this. It's just, yeah, these two together are a dream. And this is mostly how I've used this one. I've used this for daily card pull. I've used it with my Many Queens. I've used it for reading for you guys in pickup pile. I've pulled cards for my friends and sent them pictures of the guidebook. I've used it on its own with other oracle, with other tarot. It's very, very versatile. Definitely a highlight when it comes to oracle decks I've brought into my collection this year. for at least self-reflection, journaling, and helping me to connect to the rhythms of nature. I really love this one. And like I said, because the Many Queens is coming mass market soon, if you wanted to get both of these together, ooh baby, you would really be giving yourself a lovely treat. Moving on to another oracle deck you saw in my latest deck haul. This is the Goddesses, Gods and Guardian Oracle card by Sophie Ashford and artwork by Hilary Wilson. This is another Hay House. Honestly, this might be one of the most underrated decks that came out recently. I never see anyone talk about this. I never see anyone share this. And yet, this is really good. So I don't know what's going on here. It was like super affordable. When I paid for it, it was maybe 14 euros, 13 euros or something. It's got beautiful artwork and a very interesting guidebook, and I'm surprised not more people talk about this, so I am here to remedy that. As the name suggests, Goddess, Gods and Guardians Oracle, here are the backs by the way, is a deck about deities and guides. And whilst I have quite a few goddess deck, I don't really have any that represent gods or like, you know, more masculine kind of energies. So this is why I mostly wanted this deck in the first place, because it was more varied in energies than the other goddess decks I have. On top of that, when I saw the artwork for this one, I completely fell in love. There's something about the artwork that is very enchanting. The way that the deities are depicted, or the guardians, in this case we have the dryad for example, very accurate with how I depict them in my head, and it makes them feel like more real somehow and more like relatable, because they are depicted in a way that, yeah, I can relate. So that is totally why I got the deck in the first place, because I felt really connected with the way that each deity is depicted. And even though some cards are not really me, like the whole Atlantis thing, that's not really my vibe, I don't really resonate with that, I can forgive it, because a lot of the deities represented here are deities that I like working with, and because I absolutely love the idea of having both female presenting and male presenting figures here. Look at this toss. I mean, the makeup, girl, I want to do that makeup tomorrow. This is goals. I love that. But also how gorgeous. I need to show you the Aphrodite, because this Aphrodite got me. The Lilith, I love. We need to, yeah, I'm just gonna share with you all the cards while I talk about it, because honestly, it's so nice. You need to see it. So we have beautiful representation of different energies, different ages as well. Crone energies are actually represented with crone figures, which I love as well. I want to see more wrinkles on my oracle decks when we're talking about certain deities. When I see goddess decks that represent crone energy as young, you know, girls, I'm like, what the heck? Like, no, give me wrinkles. This makes no sense. And look at this Pele. Come on, so gorgeous. So yeah, love the artwork, love the key phrase, because it means that when I'm doing a reading and I use this card as part of it, I don't necessarily need to go into the guidebook. I've definitely used this in all of my recent monthly readings. I've pulled for each of my piles a card that accompanies the for the month, their guardian of the month, and I don't need to go into the guidebook. We have a key phrases here, but the guidebook is also really good. Like, it gives you a mantra for each of the cards, an invocation. It will give you bullet points as well that kind of summarize the reading, as well as a little bit about who each character or deity is, and it even gives you the pronunciation for each of the deities represented, which seems small, but honestly, thank you for giving us the pronunciation. Sometimes, if it's a deity I've never worked with, I don't know how to say them, especially not in English, right? Because I'm French, so I might know their French name, but I might not know how you say it in English. So love that we get pronunciations. This Persephone card, I mean, come on, just, oh, I just really enjoy this. I think it's super versatile. Every time I've used it for someone, they loved it. They can really identify with the card that they pulled. There's something very like comforting and easy to relate to with this one, and I think it's one I could see myself using for others and for myself. The way I've used it so far is pulling, like I was saying, either a card a week, or in monthly reading, the card that is like accompanying you, the guiding energy that's with you at this moment in time, which works really well for that. Look at this Mary Magdalene card. Oof. She's gorgeous. More people need to know about this one. The Oshun card is beautiful. We have Asclepios, and let's look at the last two, Star Maiden And Hecate. Oh, there she is. I'm glad we finished with her. So there you go. That's the Goddess, Gods, and Guardians super versatile deck. Great divinity deck or deity deck, especially if you like balance in your deck. I was saying for each of the cards, you get a little bit about who they are, the pronunciation, you get the message, and then you have additional key points, key phrases, and you get an invocation. This little thing is what I've mostly been using when I read for myself. It's a nice summary of the reading, and I like to write that down when I'm like journaling and stuff to hold that for my week or for the month, whatever I'm working on at the moment. Let's move on to the Dragon Oracle cards by Carla Lee Morrow and Diana Cooper. This deck was a gift. My friend sent me a few decks that used to belong to her mom. She passed them on to me. This was one of them, so I've been working with it for the last couple of months, and because I love dragons, I was very excited to get this one, and ooh, it did not disappoint. This is really lovely. This is definitely an oldie but a goodie. Like, I think it's been out for quite a while. 2017, yeah, so it's been out for a while. A lot of you own it and love it, so I was very excited to be gifted it. This is a deck I've been using a lot when I'm feeling a little bit low and I need a bit of a pick-me-up and I need a bit of a gentle energy. So here are the backs, which I think are super beautiful, and this is definitely for me a one card pull type of deck. I've been using it at night, pulling a card on days where I'm feeling a little bit low. I need a bit of a gentle healing message, something that's kind but still useful and not just lovey-dovey, still like actionable steps, but definitely with a loving kind of energy, an encouraging kind of energy, and this is really that for me. And because I love to pull this at night, it's perfect because I can just read this and I don't necessarily need to go into the guidebooks. So especially when I'm feeling a little bit down or when I'm in a lot of pain, because you know, to my channel, I navigate the waters of chronic illness and chronic pain. So some days I'm not mobile, I'm in so much pain I can't do anything, and in those days my card practice needs to adapt to my energy levels. In those days I like to use decks that I still want to pull cards because I still want to be able to like tune into my intuition, to connect with my guides, and to just give myself the gift of a little card pull. But my card practice has to adapt to my body, and so in those very harsh, very flared up days, a deck like this where everything is on the card, even though there is a guidebook I can go to, is super practical because I can literally just pull a card, read this, and I have my message and I don't have to spend too much energy on it. That being said, the guidebook is really nice. The messages are very loving, very beautiful. I don't necessarily understand all the distraction between the dragons because some of them, again, it's giving very starseed, celestial, star child, 5th dimension, 20th dimension, diamond vibes, which is not me. I'm 2 feet on earth, hobbit style. I'm a deck goblin. So when it goes to celestial, star child vibes, you know, it can go a bit over my head. That being said, the artwork is beautiful and the messages are gorgeous. So I don't necessarily pay attention to all the Star City stuff. I just focus on the artwork, I focus on the messages, and I've noticed that this reads really accurately. I've pulled for this for friends again. Even my mom pulled this this month, and it really gave her a powerful message. So there you go. When it starts to go into the archangels, I don't really resonate with that, so I don't really pay much attention. But if you do, obviously you do you, boo. This I found super accurate. The artwork is gorgeous, and like I was saying, the messages are really nice. Let's look. For each of the card, you will have the name of the deck, you will have the repetition of what's on the card, and then you have an explanation about what these types of dragons are, and then you have your guidance. This has proven very kind, very loving, very beautiful, so I'm super grateful that my friend sent this to me. I've paired it with the Smoke, Ash and Fire Tarot, which is an indie tarot deck by 3 Tarot. They work well together. It wasn't like my favorite pairing, even though they're both dragon stuff. Personally, the way that I've ended up working with this is mostly on its own, like I was saying, one card pull, nighttime routine, healing, gentle kind of messages. But if any of you have some deck pairings you like with this one, let me know. This is also great for rounding up the reading. So last message, summarizing your tarot reading, anything like that, it has proven really well. Mostly I think this is like very advice slash guidance based, and yeah, very gentle, loving energy, which, come on, we all need sometimes. Talking about gentle, loving energies, you guys, this, I've been a while since I've talked to you about this, but I still freaking love it, okay? It lives on my bedside table, and it has for the last 6 or 9 months at this point. I don't know, it's always like close by, this one. This is the Oracle of Self-Love by Janet Chewy. It's a French mass market deck, but originally it was an indie deck by Janet Chewy. So I don't know if, and the indie deck was in English. I don't know if the English indie deck is still available. You can get it mass market in French, which is what I did, and I've had this deck for I think over a year now. I bought it at random when I was going to the bookshop in between doctor appointments. You know how it is, you go into the bookshop because you want to buy a pen and you leave with like 3 books and 2 decks. Just me? Okay. Well, that's me. Every time I go to the bookshop. It was definitely a good purchase because ever since I've gotten this, like I said, it's lived on my bedside table and it's never been really far from me. So in the French version, you get a little pouch, you get a guidebook, all of that good stuff. And the cards are matte and really nice quality. As you can see, the cards are definitely larger than your stereotypical tarot cards, and here are the backs, which are really beautiful. Again, I love using at night, pulling one card, and as you can you notice a trend about the decks I love using at night when I'm feeling a bit shit? They always have the text on the card because I don't want to spend too long trying to figure out what the cards are telling me. I have 2 modes in terms of card pulling. When I'm feeling like I have energy and I have spoons, I will do freaking huge spreads. I'll pull so many cards, I'll journal, all of it. I'll do it all. And then my second mode is I'm super flared up, I'm in pain, I just want to pull a card, read my message and go to bed. And between these 2 modes there is no in between. This definitely falls into the category of being used when I'm in the mode of survival, just bare minimum, give me my message and let me sleep. Because not only are the messages on the card, which is super handy and useful, the artwork is so beautiful and enchanting and magical, and there's a corgi! I mean, come on, I freaking love corgis. So this has everything I love. It's got fantasy, it's got corgis, and it's got self-love. What more do you want? Honestly, if you want more than that, you're greedy. This is everything. The artwork is so enchanting. Like I said, it's very fantasy rooted. So we have dragons, we have unicorns and magic. Because this is rooted in self-love, there's definitely a good balance of themes and keywords. Here we have abundance is yours, your spark is calling you, reveal your light, focus on yourself, remember your objective, dream bigger, get more accurate on your desire, find your equilibrium, we have change your environment, healing, examine more deeply, put some boundaries, we have grief. So as you can see, it's not just all lovey-dovey. We definitely have cards that deal with like more heavy subjects, which is what I also love about this deck. It's beautiful for self-love, it's beautiful for like kind of type of reading, reflection, but it will not just tell you everything is fine when things are clearly not fine, which I also really appreciate in a deck. There is a place for a deck that's gonna give you love and light, and I definitely can like go towards them if I'm having a particularly bad time, but I do appreciate decks that can give me a good balance, that can give me, can kind of like meet me where I am. This one definitely does that. Oh, I didn't show you the guidebook. For the guidebook, for each of the cards, you get a repetition of the message, a black and white image, and then the messages all in French, obviously. I don't know if this is available mass market in English or not. Originally it was indie English, so it might be still available that way. I think this artist is super talented, so I'm very grateful that it's available mass market in French. Another self-love deck. Can you get a theme? Yeah, definitely. I think in the last few months I felt called to use my decks in a more self-love kind of way rather than in a more predictive kind of way. Although I do have one I want to talk about that I've been really enjoying for predictive reading. We'll look at that just in a sec. But in terms of like cards pulled, really focused around getting your healing message, getting a hug from the universe, getting a little bit of a check-in with yourself, introspection, journaling, and everything like that. That's been very much what I've been called to lately, and so that I think transpires in the decks I'm sharing with you today. And that's definitely how I've been using this one, the I'm Here Oracle by Murphy Pines. This is an indie oracle deck. Originally it was a Kickstarter, which I didn't participate in, and then the deck came available for pre-order, so I did that, and I've been very happy with my purchase because this is beautiful, very healing, very gentle, and very practical, I think. So this is a deck I've already recommended to a ton of my friends who are into cards, but not the way I am into cards. Because let's be real, I'm a little bit of an extreme case. I'm a huge deck goblin. I freaking love Tarot and Oracle deck, but not everyone needs 200 decks, okay? I know I'm an extreme case. That being said, a lot of my friends are into reading the cards just for like one little oracle card pull, for example, to get a message for their day. And a lot of them are not necessarily very spiritual about it, but want something a little bit more psychologically slash self-loving kind of way. So this has actually been a deck I've recommended to a lot of my friends for that, and a few of them have actually gotten it for themselves and are enjoying it now because I think it does that beautifully. This is the perfect deck for if you want something that is very grounded, practical, with a little glimpse of whimsy, but definitely no mention of like archangels and chakras and, you know, like starseeds or deities or anything like that. This is an oracle deck that's very grounded in reality. So on each of the cards you're gonna have a beautiful illustration with this little being here, which again I find super endearing, and that also seems to connect with a lot of people. The artwork here, it's very like childlike and whimsical, and so on each of the cards you will have a keyword that's very action forward. So here we have dream, and then you will have a little bit of a message, so let your mind wander, explore and create, imagination is boundless and abundant. All of the keywords and kind of concepts depicted here are very action based and very rooted in day-to-day world. It's the kind of deck that you can easily apply to any kind of question or situation you have if you want a little bit of a self-care pull that is still actionable and that you can still kind of bring back in your practical reality, which is why I've suggested this deck to so many friends and why a few of my friends have actually ended up purchasing it for an introspection tool, a self-care tool, a way to connect to their inner child. This is just a deck that, yeah, seems to be, generally speaking, across the board, a people pleaser. I don't know if you can say that, but a deck that a lot of people love, and that is perfect if you want to get a deck that will be actionable but still meet you where you are, still very gentle and loving, and give you a lot of like tips around how to face a situation, because for each of the card the guidebook not only gives you a message but mentions different modalities, such as we have journaling prompts and action prompts, and sometimes it's visualization and meditation, sometimes it's different exercises. Again, very action forward, a little bit like almost psychology based, but very practical, and again no mention really of anything too woo-woo or anything like that, which I know for a lot of people can put them off. I don't have any issues with woo-woo. I mean, you've seen my daily decks and all of that, but I know that some people need something a bit more practical and grounded with still a little bit of whimsy and kind of inner child vibe. And so this is really a beautiful tool, super versatile. I've loved using it for me. I've loved using it in my readings. Perfect for like a daily card pull kind of vibe, checking in with myself, works beautifully for that. And again, this is one I can see using for the rest of the year, and that I can very easily see in my top decks of 2024 for oracles. It's wonderful. Let's wrap up the deck I've not shared on my channel before, apart from in my reading. So if you watch my readings, you've seen it, because this is one of the latest decks that I've acquired, and yet it's one I've really enjoyed working with in the last few weeks. And it is l'Oracle Inspiré by Émilie Dedieu. This is a French mass market deck, so you can find it on Amazon.fr. I'll make sure to leave a link for it in the description box below. It's by one of my favorite artists, Émilie Dedieu. She has an online shop where she sells indie decks normally, and I have quite a few of her decks and I love them all. But this is her first mass market creation, so I'm really excited that now more people are able to get their hands on her artwork because I think she's super talented. So this is definitely another like going to the bookshop to buy a pen, coming out of the bookshop with like 10 books and 3 decks kind of trip. This was the vibe for this one. I went into the bookshop, I just needed one thing, I came out, I had my arm full, and I picked up this one. But this was not a random purchase because this was one that I would have bought anyway. I was ready to order it online if I couldn't find it in my local shop, so I'm very glad that it was available where I live. It comes with a little guidebook which is really well done, but that I don't really use that much because this is very much a deck that you are invited to use intuitively, as on the cards there is no keywords. So in the guidebook, Emily suggests that you make your own interpretation with each of the cards and that you end up making the deck your own. She even suggests that you write on the cards the keywords if you want, to make the deck really your own deck, to give your own interpretations of it. And the way that I've used this is mostly for predictive readings, because we definitely have a good variety of concepts here. We have seasons and lots of things that I really enjoy for looking at the energies of the week ahead, of the months ahead. I've used this in my August pick a card, so if you've not watched that, I'll leave it in the cards. Make sure to check that out if you want to see how the deck reads. Beautiful for predictive readings, for looking at what are the energies of next week, of the months to come, trying to kind of peek through the veil of fortune, right? This is wonderful. I love that there's no keywords because I love using my intuition for that, and it feels very refreshing. Like this deck feels like a breath of fresh air because again, you're not tied down to keywords. So one day this is gonna mean something and the next day it might mean something else. And I love those kind of decks. It's almost for me like my Dixit cards, which I love to use for those types of readings too. Very intuitive and almost like helping me to put my brain on pause and just trust my intuition, and I love that. I really love that. Plus this artwork, come on, this watercolor gorgeousness, so beautiful. Like I said, I love Emily's artwork. I have a few of her decks, but all of her previous decks had titles on them, the indie decks I have. This is her first that doesn't, and honestly, I'm really here for this gorgeousness. I think even for pick a card readings to help you choose, I might pull a card in the future. This pairs beautifully with so many tarot decks. If you have any kind of watercolor decks, even things like the Dreaming Way, it looks beautiful with. I have ordered the Journey Tarot. I've not received it yet, but I can imagine it would look really well with it. So as you can see, you have some cards that you can link to season. We had the Leaf for autumn. You can use this one for winter, so you could even like time things. You have cards also that are related to the different chakras that Emily explains in the guidebook. If you want to work with that, you can. This is just a very versatile kind of pocket knife type of deck, because there's no keywords and because there's so many different concepts and ideas. You make the deck what it is. You read it the way you want. You want this to be a self-care deck? Sure. You want this to be predictive reading? Sure. You want this to be for creativity? Yes. Like, this is a yes and type of deck. You can do whatever you want. You want to use this for ancestral reading? Yeah, why not? It's gonna be what you make of it. This is almost like a canvas, and you're invited to add your touch on it, and I love that. I really love that. Very refreshing, very innovative, and also very fun. So really enjoying this one. And there's a chameleon. I love chameleon. This is my favorite card. You will see it definitely in future monthly reading. Like I said, I've already used it for August. It read beautifully for that. Forgot to say it's 49 cards and it retails for €24.90. So there you go. So my friends, this is it. These were all of the oracle decks I've been loving lately. Generally speaking, you've seen there's a lot of like self-love / self-care type of decks. Also, we did have one for more creative readings. We had one for predictive readings. So I guess there's still a little bit of everything, but mostly I will say my practice definitely veered in the last couple of months towards self-care, self-love, as that just suited my life. Now it's your turn. Let me know in the comments the oracle decks you've been loving using. If you have any recommendations of decks you think I should check out, please feel free to let me know in the comments. I always love to hear from you and I try to respond to all of my comments. If you've made it till the end of the video, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate you so much. And until my next video, I'm sending you so much good vibes and keep navigating the ways of your soul. Bye!